Hello, and welcome to our webinar, How to Build Your Brand Through Great Customer Experience. I'm Abigail Norman, Content Marketing Manager here at Brandworkz. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. Before we jump into the webinar, there are a few housekeeping things I wanted to mention. First of all, I've placed you all on mute so there isn't any additional background noise. If you have any questions or comments, please use the text box located on the GoToWebinar side panel, and we will get to them as soon as we can. We've allowed for time at the end for a Q&A session, but please feel free to type in a question at any time. We'd also appreciate if you could fill out the survey on the closing screen at the end of the webinar, as we're always aiming to make our webinars better and hear your feedback. Also, I just wanted to apologise for my voice. Hopefully you can hear me and it lasts throughout the webinar. I've got a bit of a cold at the moment, so I'm sounding a bit huskier than usual. If you haven't already, please do connect with us on social media. You can find us on Twitter at Brandworkz World. We also have a company LinkedIn page, which you can find by searching Brandworkz on LinkedIn. I'm also happy to connect with anyone attending today's webinar. On Facebook, we have a company page as well that can be found by searching Brandworkz. If you're using Twitter, please do tweet at us during today's webinar with the hashtag #BrandandCX. We love a conversation, so please do come and get involved. This is the third webinar in a three-part webinar series that has been looking at how to build a strong brand. In the first webinar, we looked at how to align your internal teams to your brand positioning by educating your staff. This is a crucial step in building a strong brand, as your employees are either the best or worst brand ambassadors your company has. The second webinar looked at how you can share and distribute your brand assets, but also how you can govern and automate marketing processes to get all your third parties to communicate your brand consistently. This is also key in building a strong brand, as we need our brand to be represented consistently in all channels and touchpoints. Both these webinars are available on our website, and I'd also be happy to email you a link to them, so please don't hesitate to get in touch. This webinar will be examining how to build your brand through a great customer experience. This topic requires us to examine both the core elements of the brand, as well as what are the core attributes of a customer experience, and ways to apply these themes to your business. We will also explore how brand management technology can help to improve your customer experience. I'm sure I don't need to tell you that the marketplace is crowded. Consumers are overloaded with choice. A great brand isn't enough to get your product or company to stand out amongst the vast choice that there is. Consumers want to connect emotionally to a brand or product. They want to know that the company will deliver upon their needs and offer them support throughout the entire buying process. Consumers want there to be two-way conversations between them and the company. I thought I'd share with you an example from my own life how a great customer experience is truly key. A few weekends ago, I went out to dinner for a friend's birthday. I won't say the name of the restaurant chain as I don't want to embarrass them, but it's a growing restaurant chain that has several branches around the country and has recently opened one near my house. I had previously visited a different branch in this chain where I had a pleasant experience. The food was great, the service was good, and there wasn't a problem when my friend proceeded to spill her Coke all over the table. They brought another one free of charge and promptly mopped up her mess with a smile on their face. Now, when we went out for my friend's birthday at the branch of the restaurant near my house, the experience was less than great. The staff were not friendly. They didn't know if there were any gluten-free options on the menu. The food was delivered cold, and they even added an extra meal to the bill. It's an honest mistake when there is a large group, but when the waitress attempted to deny doing it, things really went downhill for us. Luckily, the birthday girl wasn't aware, but having had a previous good experience with the chain, I'm now not that keen on the restaurant and probably won't be rushing back to visit. Hopefully it's just teething problems as it's a new restaurant, but the staff didn't seem appropriately trained or informed to the ethos of the brand. Basically, all I'm saying is one bad experience is all it takes to turn people away from your brand or product. Every company faces a multitude of challenges every day, and as many of us know, traditional marketing has gone out the window. We've entered a digital age and our customers now hold much of the power. Consumers have so many different platforms and touchpoints in which they can interact with each other and with brands. Marketers are responsible for looking after many more channels and touchpoints than just 5 years ago, and even thinking about it 3. It makes marketing and brand management complex, and it requires consistent and constant attention to detail. This chart shows just some of the common places consumers interact with the brand and the company. There is also an increase in the people, both internally and externally, that have access to our brand. And we have many third parties to look after, including marketers in other offices, partners, PR teams, journalists, sales teams, manufacturers, retail partners, external agencies, distributors, and the list can go on and on. As marketers, brand managers, consultants, and directors of companies, we need to think about how we can simplify this complex challenge of ensuring a good customer experience across all these markets and touchpoints. I think this diagram does a good job to illustrate what happens when all our third parties aren't communicating our brand consistently in all channels and touchpoints. Brand inconsistency and poor customer experience from/in all your different channels and touchpoints leads to brand chaos and ultimately leaves you with a confused consumer. This is the very reason why we must pay attention to customer experience. The following is a quote from a PwC study on customer experience as a competitive advantage. The effectiveness of traditional marketing strategies continues to diminish in the face of new technologies, changing customer behavior, and rising customer expectations. The impact of marketing communications has been trumped by real-life experiences consumers enjoy or fail to enjoy when interacting with a brand across the enterprise at every physical and digital touchpoint. Indeed, the very definition of a brand may be changing. It's no longer just a logo or a visual or verbal expression, or even the promise made to customers. A business's brand is now comprised of the sum total of the actual experiences it delivers. I think that quote is so powerful and just describes exactly what customer experience is and why it's so important to the company and the brand. To summarize, branding is changing and we must embrace this change. Customer experience is part of the total brand, and a brand is only as strong as the experiences it delivers. I couldn't agree more with that. I thought it was important to highlight why we should be so concerned about this. Brand is a key intangible business asset. It is a key driver of competitive advantage and sales. It helps to define who you are as a company, how you operate, the ethos of the company, and it helps to differentiate you from your competitors. In the 1980s, tangible assets, that's things like machinery, buildings, land, and your product stock, made up 75% of company value. And today, intangible assets, mainly brand, makes up 80% of the company value. I think this stat just really shows that there is a shift and companies really do value and understand the importance of intangibles such as brand and customer experience. CocaCola is a great example of what clear, consistent brand can do for company value. Coca-Cola's brand is worth 50% of their company value, or a massive $73 billion. They are also able to charge 112% premium for their brand. Brand is something that just shouldn't be overlooked. Here we see the 3 coffee cups. They are all the exact same except for one thing, the branding on the cup. A well-managed, consistent brand allows you to charge a premium for the exact same product, as we can see from the branded to the non-branded cup. Starbucks is well known for its great customer experience and its ability to deliver upon their brand promises, which allows them to charge more and their consumers are willing to pay. A good brand and a customer experience is part of this key to success. These are the core elements of a brand. As you can see, a brand is made up of several different things, including strategy, positioning, messaging, guidelines, logos, imagery, and so on. All are important and all are necessary to pay attention to when developing a good brand. Customer experience is at the center of the core elements though, and it's there for a reason. It's the human aspect of the brand. It's what makes it come to life, and it's what allows the consumer to emotionally connect to the brand. As we just said on the previous slide, great brand is more than just colours, logos, and marketing. It's all about experiences and understanding the customer needs and how your business satisfies those needs, because this is what makes your brand come alive. Starbucks is a great example of a company that offers a great customer experience. It started as a single store in Seattle and has grown to be a globally recognized brand. They don't just sell coffee, they sell value to their customers and create a meaningful experience for them. The company understands who their core customer is and how to deliver an in-store experience that is consistent globally. While their initiative to write your name on your drink is a few years old now, it is still just as relevant in creating an atmosphere where the consumer feels valued, and it's a really simple change that they made. All of these things combine to help to create a great customer experience. And I think we can all learn from Starbucks in this. As it can be seen with the Starbucks example, it's a combination of things that makes any brand great. It's offering the experiences while also being able to deliver consistent marketing messages. It's so critical that the experience delivers on the promises made in marketing and branding. Every experience is the opportunity to win or lose a consumer, as I shared in my story at the beginning about the restaurant chain. The consumer needs to be the focus of any brand or business, and I think a great example of a company that does this well is Amazon. Their company was designed and built from the start around an ethos of putting the customer first. Every business decision is made with the consumer in mind, and Amazon has grown and expanded globally and is still on the same mission to deliver a great experience to its customers. Something that is important to note is that it can't just be marketing's responsibility to deliver a great customer experience. It has to be a total shift of company culture with buy-in from the top down. Sometimes this requires rewiring the company's processes and operations. A great customer experience starts with challenging the company culture and shifting the company to be consumer-focused. While we could spend hours discussing all the different ways to shift company culture, I'm briefly going to share with you 5 core characteristics of customer experience as defined by that PwC study that I quoted earlier. The first point is you must have quality products and services. You can use great branding and marketing to sell a bad product once, but you can't use it to sell a bad product twice. Second, support the customer before, during, and after the purchase in all channels and touch points. Consumers have so many options for gathering information about your products and services. The experience they have on each of these channels and touch points must be informative and helpful. You must be able to provide information to the consumer for each stage of the buying cycle and be able to engage in meaningful conversation with them when they have questions or want to talk. The third point is there must be convenience in interacting with the company. This is across all channels and all touch points. You must be reachable by the consumer, and you must be ready to engage in a two-way conversation with them. The fourth is your brand should be aesthetically pleasing and relevant to the products and services you offer. And finally, a community around the brand is important. An example of a company who does this really well is Nike. They've really tried to offer value to their customers in different ways than just quality sports clothing and shoes. In London, in fact, I've gone on one of these. I've gone on several of these. They offer free guided runs for all abilities from their main store. This just creates a community of people as well as enhancing the Nike brand. Now that we have looked at brand and customer experience separately, it's important now to look at how they relate to each other. Your brand is only as strong as the experiences it delivers. The two are interrelated. A weak brand can lead to poor customer experience, and a strong brand can lead to great customer experience. We wanted to offer some tips on how to strengthen your brand and ensure a great customer experience. The first is to clearly articulate your brand vision and values. We discussed in the first webinar of this series about the importance of aligning internal teams. I can't stress enough about how important it is to get your staff on board to ensure a great customer experience. One of our clients, who is a global healthcare company, has had to articulate their brand vision and values to over 40,000 staff members after a major rebrand a few years ago. The insurance industry in the United States, up to fairly recently, was not focused on brand. Businesses were built on price, product, scare tactics, and customer inertia. However, about 5 years ago, regulatory changes altered the marketplace entirely. Our client had to rebrand with a positioning that was all about helping people make the choices they need for a healthy lifestyle. This was revolutionary in the industry at the time, and in order to ensure the new brand lived up to its promises, they needed to educate their 40,000 staff about how to live the brand promise. They couldn't train everyone face to face and needed a tool to promote the brand and what it stands for so they could build a consistent brand across multiple locations, operating units, and media channels. They put the brand promise, values, and vision at the heart of their rebrand. They then had a content hub that has been instrumental in educating and aligning their internal staff behind the brand, as well as giving all their staff access to the communication materials they need. So what outcomes have they seen from using their content hub? They've seen 20,000 of their staff registered as users of the content hub. The hub informs existing and new employees about the mission, vision, and values behind the brand, and also encourages them to live the brand every day. The company has also increased their positive differentiation in the marketplace. The second point is to engage your workforce. Along with communicating your brand vision and values, it's important to have an engaged and satisfied workforce. Having open lines of communication between employees and head office is key. Especially in global companies, it's almost impossible to get everyone in a meeting at the same time. Give your staff a two-way communication channel with head office, where they can comment on or share company updates on changes to policies, brand guidelines, messaging, or make announcements. Some of our clients use an internal blogging feature, which opens up lines of internal communication. The third point is a deep understanding of what really matters to your customers. An increase in content created and getting pushed out to more and more channels has created a sea of data for marketers. This makes it difficult to decide where the insights lie to make the crucial marketing decisions. Having a central content hub for your marketing ecosystem that connects to your business intelligence platform allows you to give marketers access to the information which they need to better serve customers and improve marketing operations and processes. A deep understanding of what really matters to your customers also allows you to send them the right marketing and brand messages, which just overall enhances the customer experience. Encourage great customer service across the business. I don't think I really need to say this, as it's probably rather self-explanatory, but part of great customer experience is great customer service. You must train your staff to deliver on this great customer service. An example I can share is an outdoor apparel company, Icebreaker, who's headquartered in New Zealand, but they sell globally in 44 countries in over 2,000 retail outlets. They don't have their own retail stores, but rely on other third-party retailer outlets to sell their products. The brand story is a huge part of their customer experience, as it's the stories behind the brand that help justify the high price point, along with the quality of the product they're offering. Icebreaker centralizes their seasonal promotional materials, in-store design layouts, point-of-sale materials, and brand training materials in a brand portal. That way, staff selling Icebreaker's clothing at third-party retailers can access everything they need to create a consistently branded Icebreaker concession. Staff on the shop floor can be trained by viewing videos and documents about why Icebreaker clothing is a higher value than the product sitting next door to it, and why it's sold at a higher price than some of the other garments available in the same shop. For Icebreaker, this means a more consistent brand and higher sales. For their customers, this means a great customer experience, means great customer service, and a reinforcement of what the Icebreaker brand truly means. And finally, here to look at the framework for customer experience. This was also offered in that PwC study that I've mentioned a few times. It's a great study, and if you have a chance to look at it, I highly recommend it. I thought it was a good summary of what we've talked about in today's webinar. We need to have data-driven understanding with human-centered design. We also need to be tech-enabled engagement and focus on customer operations. Here are the key takeaways from today's webinar. I've said it multiple times already throughout the webinar, but I think it's important to note again that a brand is only as strong as a customer's actual experience with it at every touch point. This means on the phone, in-store, social media, word of mouth, your website, anywhere where your brand can be seen, it needs to be strong so that you are delivering a consistent customer experience. The second point is you must really understand your customer needs. Do your market research and dive into their minds so you can offer them quality products and services that best serve them, but also have a marketing ecosystem that connects to your business intelligence system so that you can really use that to dive deep and get the best understanding of your customers you possibly can. The third takeaway is make sure your employees and third parties understand and can communicate your company's ethos and brand. Make sure they're all on the same page of the book so that you're able to deliver consistent messages and a great customer experience that you've used your data to develop. And finally, implement technology to help you manage your brand and marketing processes. I just want to say thank you for attending today's webinar. I hope you found it useful. I also hope you were able to understand me throughout the whole thing. Apologies again for my voice. If you'd like to learn more about Brandworkz and how we can help you to build a stronger brand, please don't hesitate to get in touch. One of our experts would love to have a chat with you to discuss further. Our details are on the screen now, and my personal email is abigail@brandworkz.com. Please do get social with us, and I will be sending out a link to the recording of this webinar and also a link to the slides. If you would like either of the previous webinars, give me a shout and I will send those over to you. So once again, thank you for attending today.